Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Spitball Sports Podcast. I'm Jacob, and this will be a shorter podcast as Brian isn't able to join me tonight. I'll talk about the Thursday night football game, how our predictions went, and discuss the upcoming Sunday and Monday games. So Thursday night football. I didn't have the Bears to pull that one off. I guess you could say that they were due being 0-4. They really performed well. Commanders didn't look like they had a shot during the entire game. While I didn't have the Bears as winning the game, I'm pretty happy with the outcome as I have DJ Moore and Kmet on my fantasy team. DJ Moore got me 45 fantasy points. I'm pretty squared away for week 5 as far as pulling it off. My opponent has Christian McCaffrey and Tua Tagovailoa, so this is going to help me quite a bit. Bears, they overperformed. Fields had 282 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 57 rushing yards. DJ Moore, 230 receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Kmet, 42 yards, 1 touchdown. Like I said, I'm happy with that for my fantasy team. Pretty bummed out that things didn't go as we had predicted. Commanders didn't look good. Run game was pretty terrible. I believe Brian Robinson had 6 carries for 10 yards, 1.7 yards per carry. I wasn't able to watch the game, just watch the highlights after. I don't know what happened with the Commanders' run game. But Sam Howell, 388 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. But still, that's a lot of passing yards for them to get killed by the Bears like that. The Bears needed this one, so props for them for fighting for it. I don't see them in the running for the division. It's too competitive. But at least they won't finish scoreless, and they were able to get rid of Chase Claypool. So all good things for the Bears. Let's get into the Sunday football game predictions. So London game, Jags versus Bills. Jags' second game. I'd assume that they would have just stayed over there since last week. They might have some experience already playing over there, adjusted to the time zone, everything like that. But Bills have a lot of momentum coming in from the Dolphins win. I think Bills are a better team. I do like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like Trevor Lawrence. But Bills are a better team right now. They got to be top 5 team in the NFL currently. I have Bills picked for this game for sure. And running down the list, Panthers versus Lions. I like the Panthers as well. It's another team that I'm kind of rooting for along with the Jags. Bryce Young, I'm a fan of his. I'd like to see them do well, but the Lions, man, they're a good team. They're a great team in the NFC. Got to be a top team along with the Cowboys, Eagles, and of course the Niners. I do have the Lions as pulling this game off. I don't have much else on this particular game. Texans versus Falcons. This may end up being a pretty good game, depending on how the run game looks with the Falcons behind Bijan Robinson. And if CJ Stroud keeps holding up to how his performance has been thus far. He's the man. And Nico Collins has been balling out. I was able to pick up Nico Collins through the waiver wire, beating out Brian. He tried to pick him up. I was just a little quicker. I am excited to see Bijan Robinson with his run game, but I do like the Texans here. I think they're going to pull off the W. So Texans is my pick. Giants versus Dolphins. As painful as it is for me, I think that the Giants season is looking worse and worse as we go. From the first blowout from the Cowboys game, 40-0 at home, to getting murdered by the Seahawks at home, 24-3. I believe the end of the game ended up. So 3 points at home for the Giants. Really terrible. The only good 2 quarters that they've had was against the Cardinals with that crazy comeback. Daniel Jones pulled that from nowhere. It's a performance we've been expecting him to have for the entire season, and really for the whole team to have. It just hasn't gone that way. They look really bad progressively. I would say the defense looked a little bit better against the Seahawks. There was a couple really terrible tackling attempts, but it's getting better. A couple more pressures. Keon Thibodeau is looking better. Mike McFadden, he's making some tackles. So a couple of decent things. The problem is offense can't get anything rolling behind the O-line. It is the worst in football. With the Bears win, Giants have solidified themselves as the worst team in the NFL. I would say that they need a lot of work. It might be a little too late. With the rest of their schedule, it just gets harder. I definitely have the Dolphins to win this pretty handedly. I can only pray they don't blow out the Giants like they did to the Broncos 70-20. As if the Giants could score 20 points against the Dolphins. So, Dolphins my pick. Titans versus Colts. Titans, they've had some decent weapons in Derrick Henry and D-Hop. I do like D-Hop from his time at the Cardinals. Richardson's looking like another solid QB out of this 2023 draft class. Jonathan Taylor making his debut for the Colts. That's another huge weapon for the Colts. For that reason, I definitely have the Colts as pulling off this game. Saints versus Patriots. This, I would say, is the game that I could go either way with from the whole Sunday matchups. Trying to watch the Patriots game is a chore. It's almost as bad as watching a Steelers game. Almost. Sorry if you're a Steelers fan or a Patriots fan. The offenses are not exciting to watch. I mean, good defenses are never fun to watch either. So if I have to, I'll watch the games. Only if I have to. With that said, a lot of injuries, questionable starts. Derek Carr is still questionable as of Saturday night going into Sunday. Not sure if he's going to start or not. If he is able to make it a start, I'll take the Saints. If not, I'll back the Patriots. For now, I'm hopeful that Derek Carr will make his start, so I'm picking Saints here. Ravens versus Steelers. Speaking of the Steelers, I'm picking the Ravens. Enough said. It's kind of offending to the eyes to watch one of the Steelers games, as sad as it is to say. I used to enjoy watching Steelers games back in the early mid-2000s. Ben Roethlisberger, crazy defense, crazy offense. It's just not fun. With that said, obviously, like I mentioned, Ravens all the way. Eagles versus Rams. So Eagles have had a close call with every game that they played in, especially against teams that they should handle with ease, at least on paper. The Rams, they've been looking solid this season. Cooper Kupp making his season debut. And I mean, the Rams have been playing decent without him. So this may be the game that the Eagles will have too close of a call, and it'll mark their first defeat of the season. Or they'll make a win by dominating, and they can make a mark and get back in the conversation as one of the top teams, taking over the spot of the Niners if they can pull off this win convincingly. This is kind of another hard decision for me to make, but I am still going to favor the Eagles to win here. Bengals versus Cardinals. So I'll be here in Arizona watching that Cardinals game. The Bengals, they've been having similar issues to the Giants. Surprisingly underperforming, losing games that they should be winning. Shutouts, only scoring 3 points in a game, which is pretty crazy. It's not good for any NFL team. With that said, maybe the injury to Joe Burrow was more significant than we thought. But going into this game, Bengals have been inconsistent. They do not look like a confident team or a good team. The Cardinals, they played with fire in the guts all season. They've been putting up numbers. They've been fighting for every down. The defense has been fighting their butts off. The offense has been looking strong through Joshua Dobbs. Like, he looks like a good player. Coming in, I was pretty nervous as a Cardinals fan, bringing in a essentially backup quarterback. We thought that was the stamp in the season, confirming that we are going to be tanking. It's not the case. He is fighting. The rest of the offense is fighting. James Conner with the run game, he looks great every game. Had some hiccups against the Cowboys. They bottled him up pretty good. But going into this game, like I said, the Cardinals are looking like the more consistent and the better team so far this season. So I have to take the Cardinals here. They could arguably be 3-1 right now if they were able to finish those earlier two games against the Commanders and Giants. So Cardinals for me. Chiefs versus Vikings. I saw a post earlier that the only team that Patrick Mahomes has not beaten yet is the Vikings. I do think that the Chiefs are a better team than the Vikings going into this. They're getting their momentum back after the season opening loss to the Lions. They're only allowing 15 points per game. Vikings defense has been bad. Arguably the reason that the Vikings are 1-3 right now. Kirk Cousins, he leads the offense for the Vikings. He can bang out a lot of points in a short amount of time. They're the best 1-3 team right now, hands down. If the Chiefs aren't careful, they're going to be giving up their second loss of the season. But I do think that the Chiefs are going to pull this off in the end. The next game I have is the Jets versus the Broncos. So, a couple of loser teams, for lack of a better term, 1-3 versus 1-3. One of these teams has an offense that can move the ball, and the other one struggles. I'll give you a hint. The one that struggles lost Aaron Rodgers in his fourth snap of the season. So this is my other second game that can go either way. As a New York sports fan in general, I want to say Jets, but I have a feeling that the Broncos are going to pull off the W. Russell Wilson, he's been looking strong. He's been looking good. The Broncos have been putting up points. Yeah, they got murdered by the Dolphins, but they still scored 20 points. I'd say most of those 70 is on the Broncos' pretty bad defense. I do think that the Broncos are going to pull off the win here against the Jets. Sunday Night Football. Cowboys versus 49ers. This may be the game of the week. I've been looking forward to this one. Not as a Cowboys fan, but just as a fan of really good teams in general. This is the game I'd say I'm the most excited for of the week. This will prove the Cowboys are for real this season or not. Niners are clearly looking like the best team in the league right now. Great defense, powerful offense, and efficient offense. It doesn't really look like there's anything that can stop them. If there's a defense that can stop the 49ers, it's the Cowboys. They've been bottling up the run game for a couple of games here. I'd say McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Purdy doing his job. It's a powerful offense. I think they're going to win this game, the 49ers. If they do win this game, there's a good chance that they may end up being undefeated this season. And lastly, we have Monday Night Football. Raiders versus Packers. So there's a couple of key injuries here. Aaron Jones on the Packers, he only took 5 carries last week and was not up to form. It's clearly not 100%. It's unclear if he's going to be 100% going into this game too. Davante Adams for the Raiders, listed as questionable last I checked, from his week 4 injury. If he doesn't start, the Raiders may be in trouble. Jimmy G should be returning from concussion protocol. Although he doesn't play great, he should perform better than Aiden O'Connell. The Raiders' run game was on point last week against the Chargers, 238 rushing yards. Packers got murdered by the Lions on primetime television, like Brian and I talked about. Jordan Love, he has a lot of room for improvement. I think he is a better quarterback than Garoppolo. Rushing game, he's a lot of improvement from the Packers. They need to figure out what's going on with Jones. Like I said, he was fantastic beginning of the season. If he gets back to 100% during this game, Packers are in good shape. They can't afford to get themselves into those 3rd and long situations all game. That's just disaster. O-line needs to hold up for Jordan Love. That was one of the issues that I noticed watching that Thursday Night Football game. So with more questions around Davante Adams, my lack of faith in Jimmy G, although he is the most handsome man in the NFL, I'm going to go with the Packers here. So those were all of my picks for the Sunday game, Sunday night, and Monday Night Football, as well as the recap of Thursday night. Thanks for watching. That's about all I have for today. If you made it this far, please leave a like. I'll see you on the next Spitball Sports. Thanks for watching.